To start, we'll take Jill and move her past the other axis of the origin point. Then our square tool, starting from the origin point, making sure to click to center, click and drag off for a 20 foot by 20 foot square. This will be the base foundation for our house. With inside the rectangle, what we want to do is create a border 6 inches away from each of the edges to replicate inside walls. With the offset tool selected, you'll notice that as you click and drag, the lines come away from the edges, and if I enter a distance of 6 inches, it will create a 6-inch border all the way around the walls. From here, I'm going to take my outside edges and move them up for 16 feet, or 8 foot for each floor. This is going to be a 2-story house structure, so usually we use 8 feet for each of the walls. The next thing we want to do is to cut holes for our doors and window into the front of the house. Let's start by using the tape measure tool, the left-hand toolbar, clicking and dragging from the horizontal edge until you find the center point, which is denoted by the cyan dot you see at the top of your screen. I will find that line from the left edge of the drawing, as well as from the top down. We want to put our door in the center of not only the vertical edge but also the horizontal edge. So there are multiple different ways to complete the rectangle for the door. I'm going to take my rectangle tool and draw kind of up and away here underneath this line, but above the bottom edge. I want to enter the distance of the door size for the rectangle. The door size we use is 7 feet by 3 inches. So if you look in the bottom right hand corner where you see dimensions, you'll notice that 4 comes first and then there's a 1 foot measurement. If you look at this rectangle, you'll notice that the 4 foot of the first measurement is the vertical measurement. We want to set this distance to 7 feet and then 3 feet for the horizontal difference, and that'll give you your door size. It's important that when you make this door, this bottom edge does not touch this edge or you will not be able to move it. Let's now take the rectangle from the center, click once, drag over, and move back. Now what we would like to do here is we would like to push-pull the door through the wall so that we can have a hole to the entire object. Now we know that since it's no longer just a flat face up front here, but actually 2 walls, simply selecting the door and deleting it will not do the job. We have a few options. The easiest way to do it is to take your push-pull tool, click on the door to begin your push-pull, and simply enter the distance of 6 inches because you know that is the distance of the outer walls. This will push-pull exactly through your door, leave you a nice clean space. The other ways to do it are to simply click and carefully move back until you get this edge turning gray, or move back until you can find a line such as this to infer to, which will push you all the way through. Either way gets you there. As long as you can turn to the back, you see the door comes through. You don't have any additional lines that may have showed up in the process. With the door completed, the next step will be put the windows on in the front. Now at some point we are going to end up grouping this entire object together, and by grouping it, you remember you will triple click it and then right click and lock the object together. Once you have grouped the object together, you'll notice that when you click on it, the entire object highlights. It is very important to realize that at this point, if you wish to cut any additional holes inside of the object, you cannot just draw on top of the rectangle. It will not work. You will not be able to cut holes out as long as you can see discoloration here, or if you try to push-pull and you get this little red circle showing that this cannot be changed. At this point, the only thing you can do with this is to pull it out. If you get to a point here, you have to realize that you've drawn this window on top of this group and not inside of it. The only way to fix this is to double click the rectangle and press delete. Once this is deleted, you you can go back and look at the group you have and double click it. When you are double clicked inside of your group, you'll notice the entire object will highlight. Once you are highlighted, you are then inside of the group that is the outer walls, and you can begin to start drawing. This is one of the more difficult things that people constantly forget. So if you're at a case where you are drawing on top and you cannot push pull in, it's because you are on top of the group and you did not draw what you wanted to inside. Let's double click inside of the group. We're going to create two simple windows. We'll make them 4 feet, 4 feet. And we want to center them in two places. We want to center them along the vertical edge in the bottom and the top edge here. To do so, let's first take the top edge and align it with the top of the door. Once we're set there, we want to make sure we're set on the bottom. Drag up, and you'll feel it snap into position. Now in this case, we don't need to create another rectangle over here. Instead, we can just copy the one we already have. So I'll press Control, I'll drag it straight over. I'll move down to the midpoint where I wish to snap, and straight up until I get to the point where the two lines intersect and I'm centered. Now, to push-pull these next two openings is very easy. If you have not performed another push-pull operation since you did the door, you should just be able to double-click on the shapes, and it will push-pull in. Now, in this case, when I double-click, it came out the wrong direction. So what I'll do is I'm just going to click, carefully move back, and snap to the face. And now I should be able to just double-click, and this one will then cut out that opening as well, leaving us with the 3 holes that you see at the bottom for the house inside of the group. Now take a moment and see if you can create the window you see above on the drawing. The dimensions of this window are 7 feet wide, 4 foot tall. It is centered directly above the door along the middle of the front edge of the house, and the space between the top of the window and the top of the house is 2 this way, and it is 3 to the bottom. See if you can create this window centered using these dimensions, cut it out. When you are done, delete all your dimensions. Alright, once you have created the holes in the windows to the correct sizes, it is very, very, very important to make sure your object is grouped. If it is not grouped at this point, we must stop, group it, or go back and change what we need to change to make sure that it is grouped. Again, to double check that, just click on it once, it'll highlight blue, then double click again and make sure you are in edit mode. If this is the case, you are indeed grouped and ready to move forward. Also, when you move the bottom left edge of this, the entire object should move. There should be no straight lines or anything left over. If they are, they need to be deleted and the object regroup before we can go forward. We've completed the first part of the roof, the house. Next thing we want to do is we want to build a roof on top of the house, but it is absolutely crucial that this is grouped because we do not want the base to stick to the top. Once we are positive that the base is completely grouped together, we want to take our rectangle tool and draw on top of the group. No longer inside of it, we are drawing on top of the group from corner to corner. This will give us the ceiling of our particular house. Next, using our offset tool with a distance of 2.5 feet on each side, we will create a small overhang on the edges of the house. Now, before we move forward, we want to take the overhangs on the left and right side off, as we will not be needing them. To do so, let's just use our straight line tool from the outside edge, come straight down across on both sides, and with our eraser tool we're going to erase the outside edges. This will give us a overhang in the front and back only. Now, once we have the overhang coming off the front and back, we want to create a roof. There are many different ways to create the roof. The first way we will learn is to simply draw from our midpoint straight up, making sure we're along the blue axis. This will be the distance from the top of the wall to the peak of the roof. So at this point we want to make this distance for about 6 feet, and we'll see how that looks. You don't want the pitch to be too steep, and you don't want it to be too flat. 6 feet looks like it'll be a good size for us, so we'll to take the triangle across, we'll use our push-pull tool. Now, as you push-pull, you should be able to drag across the top. However, you'll notice that the face may not actually come with you. The face will come with you. So instead of just dragging the face, we want to press Control and move it across. You may not have to do that if it moves without the Control key, but if it doesn't, press the Control key and drag it across the top so that your roof looks like this and should overhang on the two sides. Your faces are purple here. We can right-click them and reverse them to make them all look the exact same size and color. Now you'll notice too that your roof is separate from the house. There's your bottom group. 1, 2, 3 clicks just selects the top of the roof, and this is what we want to do. With the basic outline of the roof constructed, let's create some detail to using the roof arches and our offset tool. I'm going to hold Shift and I'm going to select the top two edges. After doing so, with the offset tool, I'm going to click, drag down for a distance of 4 inches. Press Enter. You'll notice that we come over on the bottom a little bit, which is fine for right now. What we want to do is we want to take this new profile and pull it out carefully for 6 inches. You'll notice you have some extra lines left over, so we'll go back and carefully with our eraser tool just delete those extra lines. And you've given yourself a slight overhang on the edge of the house. Next, we want to make the front and the rear of the house come out a little bit as well. So again, here we're going to take our straight line tool, push all the way down, and in the front, pull down for 4 inches as well. So now you've come out 4 inches from the side of the house and down 4 inches. Let's do that same distance in the back after we connect the two edges. Four inches down. Now go to the other side and create the same offset using 4 inches. You'll notice this slide is slightly different because we already pulled this front down. So when you offset 4 inches from the top arch, it gets like this. Not a problem. Just connect the top edge from here to here. Delete middle line, and then delete this line, and that'll give you your profile. Same thing over here, cross and down, or just delete this line here. In doing so, that will give you the profile you want, so you're able to push 4 and hit Enter. So now both sides of the house roof look identical. If you want to go back and change this a little bit, you could move this out if you want to your liking. In this case, we should leave it right where it is, but know that you can change things down the road if you did not get them to look exactly as you wanted to them the first time around. The last and crucial step of the roof is to go back, triple click it, and make it a group. Doing so is absolutely crucial, as now you have one part and two parts. If you do not have these two parts, you must go back and figure out where you went wrong. If you do not have the whole entire object grouped, you can always right click and explode it and then go back and group it. For example, if I only select the first face here and then group it, that's going to give me a problem, as the rest of this is not a group. So if that's the case, right click, explode, go back, re-click the entire object, and make it a group.